What if the love that changed your life once never really ended? It was only waiting for the right moment to return. Years after their fairy tale ending, Vivian and Edward are about to face the one thing they never expected: each other. This time, love is no longer young, simple, or easy. This time, it comes with scars, memories, and choices that can't be undone. Time has a strange way of changing everything, yet leaving the heart untouched. Years have passed since Vivian Ward walked away from Edward Lewis with hope in her eyes and a future full of promise. The world moved on, cities changed, and life kept moving forward. But somewhere deep inside, something always remained unfinished. Even after all these years, the memory of that one life-changing love still lingers like a quiet echo that refuses to fade. Vivian is no longer the woman she once was. She has built a life shaped by strength, experience, and independence. The innocence of her past has turned into wisdom, but the warmth in her heart remains the same. She learned to stand on her own, to fight her own battles, and to protect herself from disappointment. Yet sometimes, in the quiet moments, she still wonders what happened to the man who once changed her life forever. Edward, on the other hand, has everything the world says should bring happiness: success, power, respect, all the things he chased for years. But behind the perfect image is a man who never truly felt the space left behind. He has everything except the one thing he never stopped thinking about. Time taught him many lessons, but none stronger than the truth that money can't replace love. Their lives have moved in different directions, but fate has a strange way of pulling people back together. A chance encounter, a familiar smile, a look that brings back memories buried deep in the heart. When their paths cross again, the air feels heavy with everything left unsaid. Years of silence speak louder than words ever could. This time, there is no fairy tale illusion, no grand promises, no easy answers. Just two people standing face to face with their past, wondering if love can survive time, distance, and regret. The question is no longer whether they once loved each other, it's whether they still do. And whether love deserves a second chance. As emotions rise and old feelings awaken, both must face a truth they have avoided for years. Sometimes the hardest part of love isn't falling into it. It's deciding if you're brave enough to return when it comes back knocking. Time has changed everything, but not in the way either of them expected. Years after walking away from each other, both Vivian and Edward have built lives that look successful from the outside, yet feel strangely incomplete on the inside. They have moved forward, but something has always remained unfinished. The past never fully let them go, even when they tried to convince themselves that it had. Vivian's life is stable now. She built her own path without anyone saving her, proving she was never just a moment in someone else's story. She learned how to stand tall in rooms where she once felt invisible. She learned to trust herself, to choose her worth, and to stop waiting for someone else to define her happiness. Still, there are nights when memories return uninvited. The sound of laughter, a familiar smile, the feeling of being truly seen for the first time. Those memories don't hurt the way they used to, but they never fully fade either. Edward's life, on the other hand, looks perfect from the outside. Success followed him everywhere, just as it always had. Business deals, power, respect, everything he once believed would complete him. But success came with silence. The more he gained, the more he realized how much he had lost. He learned that achievement cannot replace connection, and wealth cannot buy peace. In the quiet moments, when no one was watching, he often wondered if walking away had been the greatest mistake of his life. Time has changed them both, but it has also made them honest. They are no longer chasing dreams built on fantasy. They have faced disappointment, heartbreak, and regret. They have learned that love is not just about passion or escape, but about choosing someone again and again, even when it's hard. And that understanding makes their reunion heavier, more real, and far more complicated than before. When their paths cross again, it isn't dramatic or planned. There is no grand entrance or perfect timing. It happens quietly, almost accidentally, the way life's biggest moments often do. A shared glance is enough to bring back everything they thought they had buried. The past rushes in, not as pain, but as truth. Both of them realize how much time has been lost and how much still remains. What stands between them now isn't anger or betrayal, but fear. Fear of reopening old wounds. Fear of hoping again. Fear that love, once lost, can never return the same way. They are older, wiser, and more careful. But beneath all that caution is the same connection that once changed their lives forever. This time, the question isn't whether they can fall in love again. It's whether they are brave enough to face what that love demands. Because sometimes, the hardest part of a second chance is believing you deserve it. The world around them keeps moving, but something inside both of them feels suspended in time. After their unexpected reunion, neither can pretend that the past is gone. Every conversation carries weight. Every pause feels loaded with things left unsaid. They speak carefully now, choosing words like fragile glass, afraid that one wrong sentence could shatter whatever fragile connection has formed between them again. Vivian is no longer the woman who once needed saving. She has lived, struggled, failed, and rebuilt herself piece by piece. Life taught her strength in quiet ways, through hard choices, lonely nights, and moments when she had to believe in herself without anyone standing beside her. She learned to protect her heart, to stop giving pieces of herself too easily. And yet, standing in front of Edward again, she feels that old warmth stirring beneath the surface. Not weakness, but recognition. As if part of her remembers a version of herself that felt seen in a way no one else ever managed to achieve. Edward, too, has changed in ways he never expected. Time stripped away his arrogance and replaced it with reflection. He understands now how easily he confused control with love and success with fulfillment. The world praised him for his ambition, but no one ever warned him about the emptiness that follows when ambition becomes the only thing left. Seeing Vivian again forces him to confront the life he built without her, a life full of achievements, yet strangely hollow. For the first time in years, he feels something real breaking through the walls he spent so long building. Their conversations grow deeper with each passing moment. They talk about who they were, who they became, and who they wish they had been for each other. There is no blame in their words, only honesty. They acknowledge the mistakes that pulled them apart and the fear that kept them from finding their way back sooner. Each shared memory feels like reopening an old chapter, not to relive it, but to finally understand it. Yet beneath the calm surface, both carry quiet fear. What if trying again only reopens old wounds? What if the version of love they once shared can never exist again? They are older now, more guarded, more aware of how deeply heartbreak can cut. Love is no longer a fairy tale, it is a risk, and one that demands courage. Still, something stronger than fear begins to grow between them. A sense of truth. A realization that love does not have to look the same to be real. It can evolve, mature, and deepen with time. What they feel now is not the reckless passion of youth, but a deeper connection shaped by understanding and forgiveness. As they stand at this crossroads, both know that walking away would be easier than trying again. But easy has never brought them peace. The past may have shaped them, but it no longer controls them. And in that quiet realization, they begin to understand that sometimes love doesn't return to repeat itself. It returns to finish what it started. The days that follow are filled with unspoken tension. The kind that settles into every quiet moment. Nothing dramatic happens at first. No grand declarations, no sudden confessions. Instead, there is silence that stretches longer than expected, glances that linger a second too long, and conversations that end just before they reach the truth. Both of them feel it, the weight of something unfinished pressing gently but constantly against their hearts. Vivian begins to notice how much she has changed. She no longer rushes toward emotion the way she once did. She listens more, thinks more, and questions her own feelings with a maturity shaped by years of disappointment and survival. She remembers the girl she used to be, hopeful, fearless, and willing to risk everything for love. Now, she stands steadier, more grounded, but also more afraid of losing herself again. Loving someone deeply once taught her how much it could hurt, and she promised herself she would never fall that hard again. Edward senses this distance, even when she smiles. He sees the hesitation in her eyes, the careful way she chooses her words. It forces him to confront his own past mistakes in a way he never truly had before. Back then, he believed love would wait. He believed time was endless. Now he understands how fragile connection really is. He realizes that love, once neglected, doesn't disappear. It simply learns how to survive without you. As they spend more time together, small moments begin to soften the walls between them. A shared laugh over something trivial. A quiet conversation that lasts longer than planned. A look that says more than words ever could. These moments don't erase the past, but they begin to reshape it. They create new memories layered over the old ones, reminding both of them that love doesn't always return the same way it left. Sometimes it comes back wiser, slower, and more honest. Still, fear lingers. The fear of repeating old patterns. The fear of choosing wrong. The fear of opening a door that might never close again. Both know that love is no longer just a feeling. It is a decision. And decisions carry consequences. To choose each other now would mean facing everything they once ran from. Without the comfort of ignorance or youth, there are moments when Vivian almost pulls away completely, convinced that protecting her heart is the safest choice. And there are moments when Edward nearly steps back, afraid that his presence might only reopen wounds he caused long ago. Yet every time they consider walking away, something holds them in place. Not obligation, not nostalgia, but a quiet understanding that what they share is rare, something that life does not offer twice without reason. As they stand on the edge of possibility, both realize that love has changed its shape. It is no longer about saving or being saved. It is about choosing honesty over fear, vulnerability over pride, and connection over comfort. The question is no longer whether they love each other. That answer has always been clear. The real question is whether they are brave enough to step forward, knowing that this time, there are no illusions left to hide behind. The moment arrives quietly, without music or dramatic gestures. It comes in the stillness between words, in the space where both of them finally stop running from what they feel. There is no sudden confession, no grand promise. Instead, there is honesty, raw and guarded, and long overdue. They sit across from each other, not as the people they once were, but as the people life shaped them into. And for the first time, neither feels the need to pretend. Vivian speaks first, her voice calm but steady. She admits that she spent years building a life that looked strong on the outside while quietly guarding the fragile parts of her heart. She explains that loving him once changed her forever, not in a tragic way, but in a way that forced her to grow. She learned independence, resilience, and self-worth. But she also learned what it felt like to lose someone who mattered more than anything. And that loss stayed with her, shaping every choice she made afterward. Edward listens without interrupting. He doesn't defend himself or try to rewrite the past. He knows now that love cannot survive without presence, without courage. He admits that he hid behind work and ambition because it was easier than facing emotional vulnerability. He chased success, believing it would fill the empty spaces, only to discover that success without connection feels hollow. His voice carries regret, but also clarity, the kind that only comes when it's almost too late. There is a long pause after the truth is spoken. Not an uncomfortable one, but a heavy, meaningful silence. In that stillness, they both realize something important. The past no longer controls them. It shaped them, yes, but it does not own them. They are no longer the people who walked away years ago. They are stronger, more aware, and more honest about what they want and what they fear. This time, there are no promises of forever. No sweeping declarations meant to impress or persuade. Instead, there is something quieter and more powerful: intention. The willingness to try, not because it feels safe, but because it feels real. They understand that love does not guarantee happiness, but neither does fear guarantee safety. Choosing each other now is not about fixing the past. It is about honoring everything they have survived. As they stand together, the world feels different. Not perfect, not certain, but open. The future no longer looks like a distant dream or a painful reminder of what was lost. It feels like an open road, uncertain but full of possibility. They don't know where it leads, only that they are finally walking in the same direction. And in that quiet decision to step forward instead of turning away lies the true meaning of their second chance. Not a fairy tale ending, but something deeper, something earned. A love no longer built on illusion, but on truth, growth, and the courage to begin again.